Good evening, everyone, and welcome to stage 3 of the 3R Tour of Mann racing series. This week we are at 700, 34.2 kilometers of racing and 240 meters of elevation. So we've classed our flat race of the series. I'm Matt Luca, and hopefully we'll shortly be joined by Kristen Mote, or Moti. Hopefully this week he'll be able to make it. So last week we took on the Douglas Crit. That was 20 times on a relenting course that saw the pack really just drop each time, and we had a select few battling it out, where Greg O'Malley took the honours with Dan Stimpson second, Francis Lambert third, and then Tom Gates and Jan Vanner not far behind. And this is how we look overall. Jan Vanner on the top spot with Doug Hart second, Chaos Vesper third, Stimpson, Lambert, Gates, Olsen, Neild, Kerpel and Miller. So you can see a lot of that is still very close as we are going into the third round, flat one that we'll see coming up. So I expect it still to I expect it to be a bunch, but you just never know with RGT. I think the last course we have next week with all the hills, that's really going to see some time gaps open. So there's bonuses for the first 5 places. So this is where they're going to need to make that count. So you can see here, 700 course, down in where we were last week was the actual capital. This is the ancient capital of Mann, Castletown. So we're just outside there. And this is a course that's known as the Blind Circuit as well, that's used for lots of motorbike races, close this off. It's another course that you use apart from the famous TT one. However, use this as it's a pretty good training route as well. So we've got, I think it's about 5 laps around this. It will be fast because it's pretty flat, so we'll have to see how the guys are going to play it today. So, as we head to the pen to see, a lovely bunch there ready and waiting. So we are 30 seconds out from the gun, and we can already see there some familiar names that are popping up. So we've got Herrera, who was last week in there. We can see Dunstan on the sides there, Hart's in, Lambert. So the guys who are all here on the standings, it's good to see them coming in each week and carrying on, as well as anyone new who's dropped in. Absolutely good to make up the numbers and give these guys a run for their money no matter what stage we're on. So here we are, eyes down looking, and it's all red numbers off the front as always. And I can see a nice little buffalo bike taking its time off the front there. I think that was one of the ones that you can, I think if you finish the Everest challenge during January, I think if you climbed the height of Everest, you then unlocked the buffalo bike as it's referred to. Just to be in a peloton while you're doing your Mr. Bean, sat up high. I think there's one at the back there you can see in red. So it makes it look a little humour in there for you. But as expected, fast out the gate, and it's large bunch here. So everyone will probably be looking at each other. Who's going to make that first move? Who's here to really rip it up today? The likes of Doug Hart, he probably won't sit long in the pack before he gets a bit itchy. And I think it's going to be the likes of Jan Vanner, Dan Stimpson. The top guys are going to be following, I reckon. Lambert as well, who's there. You can see Roy Neild, good. There's a lot of these guys who are recurring in there. So we'll see. A lot of different tactics on a flat course, because again, everyone thinks that you're just going to sit and, let's say a Zwift race where everyone will just sit around, everyone knows what's going to happen, you're not going to be able to brake, and then it's just last a K of hurt. RGT, as we all know, it's very rare you get to see a full bunch sprint at the finish, because and that's great because it lends itself to that attacking style of play. So providing you've got the people who are that way inclined, then again it makes it interesting for you guys, the guys who are racing, and also for me commentating. Okay, so in the pen we've got, about 25 that have set up together, 25, 26 maybe. And again, at the minute, it looks very settled. People are just probably going to warm up for this first section, first 5 minutes. You can see at the bottom of your screen there's a course profile, and when we're talking about flat, all green pretty much there means they're in for a nice ride in terms of gradient. Yeah, green pretty flat. I think it's up to there to maybe if you hit 3%, which we're going to see momentarily. As you hit there, see it's going up on your top right. You can see plus 2.9, and the colour starts to shift and change. 3%, there you go. It's kind of around that 3 and above. You start seeing the colour, and that just indicates there that we are increasing. So if you ever jump on a course, want to see what it's like, at the bottom of your screen, providing you've got the option on, it will tell you, and you can see here any form of lump like in real life. People want to use that as a little board just to stretch the legs rather than letting everyone just sit in and as easy as possible. You want to make the other guys hurt. So at the bottom, couple of little orange parts. To be honest, this course is like it is our flat course. There isn't much in terms of natural hills to give you that launch pad as it's usually looked at. You know, where you can look at a course and think that's where the damage is going to be done. This one, fairly flat, so it's going to be up to these guys to catch people off guard, work together, see if they can create mini teams if people are going to go off the front and chase them, and that's where the tactics come into play, because the first 5 guys, so you've got Jan, Lambert, Gakes, I apologise whoever, I forgot there, Dan Stimpson as well. They're not in, it depends, like I said, tactics, isn't it? They might want to sit here because as Pedersen puts off the front, are people going to let others chase down, or are they thinking actually might let this go out a little bit and then jump across? And as you can see, O'Malley there, our last week's winner, deciding that he's going to lead the charge and close Pedersen down. And again, that's what you want to kind of do. If you've got a few of you together as a team, or alliances, should we say, you just want to keep working and attacking together to try and tire out your other people's ones. So you can see here, Jan, now he's taking it up and pushing it a little bit, trying to not let people rest, not because this is such a pack in the flat. Everyone is going to want to sit in and try and rest as much as possible. Your job, try and make that not the case. So as you can see, and that's what you want to see as well, is that as soon as someone's attacked here, Jan's been going here for a good solid 30 seconds to a minute until he's caught. Next person, right, come over the top, keep stretching it and not allowing these guys who are looking for a free wheel to have that. And as we can see, there are a couple that are starting to drift off the back there. You can see on the top right screen, when you're looking at 15, they're 5 meters back as well. So they can't let that go, because if these guys are going to keep attacking, keep stretching it, as you can see there with that great angle, there's a few just going off the back there. And now when good work, Damon. So yeah, you can see these guys, if they don't put an effort in now, that could be an early night for them. So they really, and this is exactly the tactics, is that as soon as someone's finished with one attack, you come over, make it hard for the rest of the guys. Because these guys, for all you know, could have a fantastic sprint. They just may not be able to have that high sustainability in responding to all these attacks. So you don't want anyone having a free ride. Let's get rid of them. And these guys now need to realise, okay, we're a bit off the back now. Let's form a little gruppetto, start working. And if these guys up here at the front start looking at each other, then we're early on in the race. We're 4.5k in. There's a lot of track road to go in order to be able to catch them up. So if these guys behind start working together, 100 meters is easily doable. But if you are the guys in the front, that's a lesson there. If you start putting the foot down, people aren't going to be able to respond. So exactly that's what you want to be doing, making it hurt. And keep rinse and repeat to see how many you're left with at the end. So We are now 5k in, and O'Malley is the one next to hit the red to try and keep stretching it. As you said, you've seen O'Malley, you've seen Doug Hart, you've seen Jan Vanna all taking a turn, and Pedersen at the front just rotating, making sure that the pace isn't easy for everyone. And that is Tom Gates there, who's I think is your man in the Buffalo that you can see, and he's going to be very easy to spot because it looks like the way your riders sat is that they just sit up, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. So we'll be easily be able to track Tom while he sits in the pack throughout the race. As we see Pedersen now taking it to the front and putting on a little kick again, and that's it. As soon as someone's through, next person keep pushing and see, because people are only going to want to respond so much. At some point, these guys who are the ones constantly responding, after about the 6th time, they're going to look at someone else and say, look, I've been doing this the whole time, someone else have a go. And that's where these attacks can stay, is that everyone has that same moment, they look at each other, and you can get quite fortuitous to nip off the front, such as when, as we see here, Tom Gates in his I always think of that, what was the film, Mr. Bean, with where he's cycling past the peloton with one of those sort of bikes. It's exactly what Tom Gates looks like he's doing now. It's a great little addition, those bikes. Certainly adds a little comedy in it. Okay, so at the front, I've managed to catch them there, and that's it. And that's what I expect to happen, as I was just talking about there, is that there's going to be these constant attacks, and I think it's going to be someone who gives a good concerted effort of about a minute full on, and it's just what that person wants is maybe to bring one, but as we see the next person doing their attack, this is it. As we said, if people look and think, right, who's going to chase this one down, I've had enough, that's where these attacks stay. And that's it. So Dan Stimpson's gone, and Lambert went straight to the front there because he knows he's a competitor in the overall GC. If you look on the left hand side, you can see their numbers, which is an easy indicator there of how hard people are pushing. If their numbers are lighting up in red, it means they are given a good effort to try and bridge or attack. And as Dan's there, just keeping it steady, but Doug Hart has now come to the front at 6.2, 6.4 watts per kilo, and he's bringing that back while the others sit behind. As we've seen from Doug, very good workhorse, not afraid to be on the front and being the one driving it. So I expect to see him up at the front quite a bit, either being the one chasing it down or attacking. But that's, if you're one of the sprinters, that's exactly what you want, someone who's going to do the work for you. You know, that's, at the end of the day, you're here to win a race, and if that's your tactic, is just to sit in until the finish, someone doing that constantly is exactly what you want to see. As Linden and Collins and Hart just seems to nip on, but it looks like they're responding back to that. And that's, I think, as I said, what's going to happen. Just these constant attacks, and it's really going to be who's just going to get ultimately lucky, because all these riders are probably, there's a good amount here. You're going to have to put in a really big effort to naturally break it, and it's going to have to be a big effort with a mix of people looking at each other. When that happens, that's when it's going to be game on. Are they going to work together, or are they just going to let them sail off, let them burn a bit of energy? But we're 8Ks in, and we're all still largely together in this little pack here. We've got about 14 that have made the cut so far. As we come to, I think, we've got that little climb section there where we saw little efforts being put in, and that's just where it adds to the hurt if you can attack on those gradients. Just makes it a little harder. So yeah, we can see 16 we've got in the front group with Hackleton there, who's unfortunately in no man's land. Then that's what you want there. These guys here just through and off and together, realizing that we're now at 450 meters, and there's a good group of them there, which is good. And if they just do the same, just keep tapping through, working together, then they're not going to catch the guys really. Well, they're not going to catch the guys in front unless something major happens, but keep working together, which is great. And here we've got Simonsen and Stenberg, great again. Hopefully with those guys, 2-up time trial. We've got Kraglen behind that, and you see we can just see the 1s and 2s that have kind of unfortunately been shelled from the race, but as is always good, and that's what we like to see with ZMS, is that we're still covering them because they're still putting the effort in, so they deserve some TV time. And there's Hurst on his Buffalo bike as well. There we go. Barber, where's that? Just a K behind there, tapping through. And again, like we said, if you're going to put the effort, you'll get the time on the screen, because it's great for people turning up, even if it's not at the pointy end as the race, so you'd normally say, they're out here putting the effort in, and fair play. Keep going, guys. At the front, it looks like there must have been a little of attack there because it was strung out going into that corner. Just taking a quick drink. And yeah, there must have been an attack because we're all nice blue numbers, meaning that we're all just recovering at that stage of recovered. Now let's look at each other for who's going to be the next one. Oh, and that's our latest victim, Aid there. Mike Aid, I apologise if I get anyone's name wrong or mispronounce anything. I'm guessing. And that's his race over, unfortunately, because a solo person won't be bringing that back, as it looks like Pedersen is the next one to put in a little shift. And that's it. As we can then see Dan coming through. Numbers, as you can, what I'm referring to, where you can see people putting efforts there with Dan in the red. They're all colour coordinated into how much effort you're doing, and as you can see on any type of effort, everyone will be, and the gradient goes up, which naturally helps for it. And you'll see the red come out underneath their name that we're staring at there. That means they're putting in a good effort. As Jan takes the front there, he's pushing, and that's caused a response, because you can always tell if someone's putting a good effort, because if there's a load of red numbers behind, it means that people are starting to panic and they're wanting to close that down very quickly. So if you can see someone go off the front by themselves, followed by a lot of red numbers, the pace has indeed increased, and people are starting to react or panicking that they know it's someone that they don't want off the front, especially with Jan, who's leading. All eyes are going to be on him to make sure he's not the one nipping off the front. So the likes of Lambert, Careless Vesper, Gakes, they don't want Jan to be the one sailing off in the distance. Maybe Dan, because he is part of 3R. There might be a bit of tactics there that they're going to help each other out a little bit. They're being first and I think third respectively on the podium, but always help out your teammates as well while trying to help yourself as well. And I'm sure that's what the case would be with these guys. Will we see both of them go for it, try and do a 2-up? Who knows? But I don't think that the pack might have something to say about that anyway. So as I was saying before, when you can see the red underneath their name on the screen, as you can see, with Pedersen's kind of gone up into the red, and as I've politely asked him, he's now going up into the red. Means he's putting in a good effort over his FTP. All these colours and these zones are based off your FTP that you yourself input onto the program, and it kind of then gives you your coloured range. If you're light blue, you're sitting in, and that's what you'd see, all these guys sitting in behind to be very low light blues. They are just cruising along in the wheels. Greens is you tap them through okay, and as we get up to yellow and oranges, you are putting in a good thresholdy sort of effort. You are putting the feet down quite a bit. And then red means we are really going for it. And that's what you see when someone usually is off the front attacking or trying to bridge the gaps. Straight away you'll see these red numbers coming up on the left hand side, as you can see here with Kent, and underneath their names. So while you're riding, you're probably not paying as much attention to the numbers on the left because you're looking at what's happening in front of you, but because you can see all the names, it gives you a great indicator that if you are sat where Kent is now and suddenly all the names start appearing with red all underneath, you're going to want to start responding yourself, otherwise you find yourself at the back pretty quickly. It's great to see this little pack as well. They are working together very well. And it seems that they're keeping a good distance there, because to A, we've got Wilson. They should pick up the guys in front. So we've got Hackleton, who's about 100 metres, and then Wilson, who's a further 100 metres ahead at a total of 200. So if these guys keep working together, then there's no reason why they can't start mopping up these people who pop from the front group. And that's if they decide to work together, or if they want to sit and look at each other. And then we've got the two up of Simonsen and Stenberg again. I think it's safe to say they probably won't be catching the guys in front. However, they have got Kragland behind, who's at 60, 70 metres. I'm not sure if they caught him and dropped him, or whether that's Kragland when you're looking at the watts that are going on there. Looks like I think they've just hit the corner there, so they might just be going a bit slower. But if Kragland can put in a bit of an effort, then there's no reason why he couldn't catch up. And that'd be what you're doing now, is thinking of the little goals you can set yourself in these races. Is there anyone around me that I can chase, or if you're Costain there, it's I want to stay away from Hurst, and that's my goal, to keep 28th, not allow him to catch me. Out at the front of the race, strung out again. So it looks like we are having, as we said, these repeated attacks as we finish what's coming up to our second lap. It's roughly about, what's that going to be? So it's just under, if we hit that, yes, it's going to be just under 7k a lap. And there's our latest victim, unfortunately, Feynman. And we've got Collins and Whatmow. I apologise for that probably horrible pronunciation. They look like our latest ones as well that have dropped off. And Olsen and Roy Neild. Wow, so something has happened up the front there. Someone's really gone for it, because there's been a lot of people spat out for there. So it looks like there must have been some good attacks from the front to drop these. Well, the amount of people. And again, they're 70 metres there, so if these guys have just put in a good effort, if you're Roy Neild or Olsen, someone take to the front, put a good effort in, and show the guy behind, look, let's work together, and we can catch these guys. Because as you can see here, they're all in the greens. They're probably recovering from whatever effort was just put in there. So they're 70 metres, a good minute shift from both of them, and they could get back in here. Whereas if you're, well, as Pedersen looked like he was going to respond there, if you're in the front, you're realising that they are, and Olsen's putting into red numbers, they are dangling around that distance. So, and as they're going into the four, so it looks like they've realised that if the front aren't going to do anything, then they've got a chance of coming back here. And here's some perfect camera work from Damon. So we can see here, front guys are all green, and this is the difference here. Roy has realised there that if I'm going to put in a good effort here, I'm going to catch them, and that's great, because Olsen's really got to not let that go. And you can see in the top left there, you can see his watt savings, and as Roy is going away, he's just lost that now. So Roy, 50 metres back. If the guys in front just ease a little bit, which is exactly what he's praying for while he's up in this, and you can see here his name's red, everything's red, I'm sure his face is as well. He's just got to hope that in the next 20 seconds, no one decides to be that person and push, because if he can just, and you'll see, I'll quickly talk, top left, you can see he's 16 metres, 15 metres, 14 metres from getting on Greg O'Malley's draft, which you see on your data screen at the top left. And now he's locked on to Lambert, and he's started to save watts, so he can, I wouldn't say knock off the gas, because that's what's just happening there. Is it's deceptive, is that as soon as you get on, oh no, Roy, after all that effort, I think they've all just gone into reds and decided to leave him at that moment where he just caught, I think he just eased, whether it was just the worst possible moment of when he was about to lock on the back. start taking a rest, they've decided to. We've hit that little section there where it rises. They've given a kick, and it's good night, Roy. Oh, after all that effort, good. First, congrats on that, Roy. That was a good shift to get on the back, and you could just see where he'd on the top left there. It said you're behind him, and you're starting to get that draft. However, because Greg looked like the one who actually initiated that and went to the front up the hills, it meant that Roy really had to put the gas on to keep that draft mechanic there, and unfortunately it seemed just a little too much for Roy to be able to stay with them. Behind that, the little ones and twos together, we've got our little pack that is picking up people. So what position we've got up to, so it looks, yep, they've got Hackleton, so we've got up to 16 here, so 16 to 23, and that's great to see a little gruppetto here, because like I've said, if they keep working together, they will be competing for higher up spots as people are dropping off in their ones and twos, because they've got Aid, who is 120 meters away, and it'll be interesting to see whether they've caught him or what that distance is next time we kind of look at this little group who are seemingly working together. And yeah, Aid, I don't know what he's hit the twos, hit the threes now, so he's really, and you can see on there, when you're in the greens and the light blues, you're taking it easy, and I think he's sitting up waiting there from the looks of it. Realise there's no point me being in no man's land for the next 17k. I may as well get in a group and be able to work, because it's a lot more efficient that way. So I would assume my Aid is just sat up, well, he's putting a little effort up the hill, because that is exactly what you don't want to do, is be freewheeling it up the hill when the natural pack will put an effort up it, and go from the front straight out the back is absolutely not what you want to be doing. So I think he's playing this quite right. He knows they're coming, and he's just going to let them come past and say thank you very much. And it is Mike, good, I'm glad I got that right. And he said thank you very much, I'm going to now sit in here and work as a team to see who else they can pick up, because next on the list is Feynman at 460 meters ahead. So again, when we have a little check around, we'll see what the distance is on there, because 16k 10 mile on your own compared to a pack of that's got to be near 10, it's odds are against you. And Doug Hart, as expected, off the front, and he has got Greg O'Malley with him, who is last week's winner and has a very good sprint on him. So it might raise a few eyebrows there of who's going to want to respond to that. And it looks like Jan is the one to do it. He knows that Doug is high up on the standings, and also if he can actually get away, and perfect, because having Doug and Greg, and it looks like Pedersen, because there's 15 meters behind them there, if they keep this pressure on, that might be a good little foursome away here. Although, as I say that, it looks like the pack's closed that down quite quickly around that corner. And how many have we got left here? So we've got a select group of 9. So, yeah, as we go lower in the numbers, that's when there's less people who are going to be available to help you out, should we say, the one who's chasing. So that's where these little ones and twos got a better chance of staying away. So if you are that attack in mind and you keep doing it, then the same person's constantly chasing you down. At some point, that they're going to look at each other and say it's your turn, and that's when you want to hope you're the one up the road when they decide to look at each other. And I keep calling it, I keep expecting it to happen. So let's hope that they prove me right over the next 15.5k anyway. We've got 9 of us, and it looks like that's what's happening here, is that they've taken a little rest, and I'm guessing, although we've which is good, we've been scanning through the field, I'm guessing it's just been on and off attacks to try and just wear the other riders down, because there'll probably be some people who are sat in who probably haven't seen the front yet, who are happy just to be taken to the line. And that's, if you're one of those guys who likes attacking, making the race, let's say, interesting, for a lack of a better word, that's what you want to be doing. You want to be off the front and making it hurt for these guys and hope that they're on the wrong side of a split. Okay, so we've got a side-by-side shot here of the pack. Everyone at the minute just seems to be happy sitting at this. As we come to a little rise here before we take the left, but behind. So yep, so they are catching Feynman, because if you remember I said it was about 450 meters. We're now down to 300. So again, if they keep working, they will catch Feynman for sure, and they'll be fighting for 14th position. And who knows, they could, if the people in front of this little group aren't working together as well, there's no reason they can't be fighting for the next spots. So if you are in this group, that's exactly your motivation. Work together, pick up the people who are dropping, and you could be sprinting for, well, you know, you started off in potentially 23rd, this group goes up to, you could be sprinting for a top team place really. So absolutely, there's a motivation here for these guys to keep pushing through and pick up whoever drops from the front. However, these 9 riders, I would be surprised if one drops. I think if there's going to be a split, it's going to be you know, 2 or 3 off the front rather than someone going from attrition. These riders are, you know, all similar caliber, and I don't expect one of them to kind of, unless they're on a bad day. Oh, brilliant. And yes, absolutely, I know you're listening to me rabbit on for 20k. Come down in the comments and Damon will put you up so we can interact and shout for who you want, who you think will win, teammates, anything you want to talk about. Absolutely, it gives me something to talk about rather than me rabbit on. And thanks Nick Giles for getting in there. Go Jan van der Linden. That is our J Linden Poco. So that's the Poco Motion he rides for. In his team name there, very good rider, and I'm sure he will be up there fighting for the win, as we have 13.4k left. So we've just not long past the banner, and that'll be 2 laps to go. And yeah, whoever's watching, who do you think is going to win? We've got 9 riders for selection. Do you think it's going to be a break? Do you think it's going to all stay and be a 9-man sprint? What do you think is going to happen? 13k to have a guess. As we're all red numbers again, out of that corner, really attacking. Charged our batteries on that last straight, because we're really giving it an effort, and that's it. Is that I think with this group, you've either got to catch them napping, and you've really got to hit that when they're, you know, everyone's in the blues looking at each other. You're going to have to hit near 10 watts per kilo you need to snap that elastic as quickly as possible, so that the person who would be responding just misses out on that maximum draft that they will get from, you know, just being like Tom is, sat on Pedersen's wheel waiting for that. If you can snap that as soon as possible, that's what you need to be doing, and catching others when they are sleeping. And I think if someone is going to be able to get away from this pack, I think that's what will have to happen, because I don't think someone's just going to be able to sail away, as Doug then drives it on as well. And that's it. Vesper, if Vesper, and if that's it at that position, if Vesper looks around and thinks, I'm not going to take that on at second wheel where there's a little bit of a gap, if he eases like he is to 2 watts per kilo, you can see that gap starting to increase there. And that's exactly how someone can get away, because someone, when it's strung out like that, you just need one of the wheels to think, no, I'm gonna let someone else chase this down, and then the person behind you think the same, and then suddenly it just gives that person on the front that gap essentially, and they can be away if people are just going to start looking at each other. And that's exactly what Doug will be praying for with all these attacks, is that one of these 50 attacks that he's making, he's playing the numbers game, that someone's not going to want to respond to him on the 49th time, as Greg decides to come over the top as we hit that little rampy section, I think, where it just increases up to your 3% or so. see if he can stretch it out, but everyone's wise there. Because it's such a flat course, you have those natural areas where people are likely to put in that effort. You know it's going to come, so you prepare yourself to, when you hit those sections, automatically to put on a bit more effort. When you want to attack is straight after, when everyone does that little effort and thinks, okay, as you can see here, we're all nice and light blue. That's when you want to come over the top with a big effort and try to snap. As I thought Pedersen was gonna do it while I'm talking about it, but these just look like reactive sort of panic, because you'll see red numbers go for a second and then drop straight off. That's just because someone's probably panicking that someone is doing attack, so there you go, red, and then oh, he's not. But because you do it, someone else in the pack thinks you're actually going, and it causes that little panic flurry of red flashes that you'll see because someone thinks you're going, but it's just people being reactive to what's going on with the course. As Pedersen is actually putting in a bigger effort here over a nice little rise, and what he's got a little gap, but there's a lot of red behind him there, so it's going to be tough. And as we see here, Feynman going to be reeled in by that little gruppetto behind, who are working together very well. That stuck at 800 meters there because you've got three. Olsen, I apologize, I'm saying your name really wrong. Mao, or Morg maybe. Again, I'm just gonna, I apologize. You can laugh at me later and tell me how to actually say it. And Collins, those three look like they are working together very well as Feynman is reined in this pack. They've got this pack here has 800 meters in 10k to catch the three riders who have kind of formed up and done a little 3-up time trial. So going to be a tough ask, but again, they've certainly got the numbers. If they keep coming through, we design them, designate someone to come through, put in an orange to red shift, and then sit on the back. You're going to have plenty of time for recovery. So it's not out of the realms of possibilities. However, they may be, okay, we've brought in everyone that we probably will, and because they are actually fighting for 14th now, they might just be, okay, 14th sounds good to me. I might just start easing on those efforts, start drifting towards the back, have a 9k rest before we, with them it's 11k rest there before we get to the final sprint. Hopefully not, because again, these guys, if they've been coming through, look like they've been really doing really well and working together. So hopefully they continue to do the same, and then it's every man for himself when they get to the final straight. And as again, on cue as usual, Doug Hart is off the front trying to make an effort. But just on that part, you hit a downhill, so the pack just eats up any form of attack there. So 9 riders still together, still all to play for with 9k to go. Yeah, don't know hand on heart who's going to get this one, because we saw last week Greg have a very good sprint and he just did enough for the other guys to hold off. Now, does that mean this week they're going to be watching him and not allowed to do that? As we see here, we've got here Stenberg making a good effort here to get Simonsen and Kragland, although it looks like last time it was Kragland who was just off the back, so he's obviously caught these guys, and it's Stenberg who's just putting in an effort to catch up with them again. So we've got Jeppe Snever Andersen. I apologise if again, as I called you Snever last time, so you can shout at me if you need to. Yeah, O'Malley, great sprint last time, and also Jeppe, fantastic race last week. First of all, yeah, Greg O'Malley, good sprint on him. So I think he'll be the man to watch, and I think that's who after last week's sprint, I think that's who they will be watching. I think, yeah, do you try and get rid of him beforehand? Can you get rid of him beforehand? Because with that sprint, you haven't seen him too much on the front really since the first half skirmishes that went on. He's gone very quiet, and I've not said his name very much, so he may be realizing that this is his top 9 who he's got to go and sprint against. So take it as we see Doug again for the 27th time putting in an effort, trying to hurt these guys, trying to get rid of some of them, because like we said, Hart, great engine, and will be someone who you wouldn't want to go off the front, but sprint wise, I think that's where he knows that he wants to get rid of the guys before it comes to that, because that's not his forte. It's getting off the front, and he wants to leave the guys behind from a TT perspective. As Barber there, 2 laps to go, 29th, great effort Barber, keep it going, absolutely coming in, still spinning, still racing, so get the coverage, absolutely. Hurst on his Buffalo bike as well. Yeah, kind of those two, unfortunately, no man's land. And then we've got Stenberg and Costain, who have grouped up together. Oh, it looks like Costain's caught Stenberg then, because we've now got Kragland and Simonsen in front. So it looks like Costain's caught these guys, and that would be very good. Although it doesn't look like, from each time we kind of come to this little pack here, they're always broken up. So whether they are working together well or they're trying to attack each other, I'm not too sure. However, if I was them, I'd certainly want this to happen here. All 4 of you together. You've got 10k left, work together, and then with 300 meters to go, say everyone man for himself. But they maybe want to fight for that, and if you are competitive, which is absolutely 100% nothing wrong with, you might want to drop them and try and solo it yourself. You don't want someone hanging on your wheel for the whole way if someone is looking at doing that. So Costain there to come through, keeps it on the red, and looks like he's still wanting to come straight through and carry on. So maybe he's realised that he's caught them up by himself. Why not go through and leave him in his rear view mirror? And it looks like that may happen. We'll have to keep an eye on those 4 as well as the race goes on. So we're 8.8k with these guys. If we can see at the front, so it's kept to 800 meters. It doesn't look like they're going to catch them now, because it was 8.8 with when they were about 10k to go. So in that time, they haven't been able to make an indent in that distance. So it's likely that these guys are going to be going for, I think it was 14th in the pack. So now they know that. Will they ease it off a bit? Will they start cat and mousing already? Or will someone try? Or why not? Why, like I just said before, if someone is feeling good, it doesn't mean there might not be an attack on there. As we're nearing, so these guys again, it just looks like these guys want to attack each other. As it looks like Simonsen's has caught them and gone straight over, but then eases up. So it looks like Kragland and Stenberg just dropping off a little bit here. So we could see 2 groups of 2, although Stenberg's putting in that effort there where they might catch them. Yeah, it looks like these guys are happy to fight it out the whole way, which is fantastic from a commentary point of view, but it's surely going to be hurting these guys with 9k still to go. They're looking to snap that, and it looks like we might get 2 sets of 2 forming here. Could be Costain and Simonsen against Kragland and Stenberg here. So that could be a 1-lap battle between these 2 as a 2-up time trial each. Yeah, it looks like Costain's happy to hit the front now, and he's been putting in some he's putting in 4 watts per k there, compared to who's on the front behind Kragland, 2.2, and that's it. If you're putting more watts out in front, more than the guy behind, as it should suggest, you will eke out that distance, and that has quickly gone up to we're near 80 meters now. So if he keeps that effort on, then I don't think those guys are going to catch, because they've just stayed at 2 and kept it like that. So, and then this is our pack that are going to be sprinting for 14th, although Collins looks like he's dropped from the group in front because he's now 600 meters. That should give them incentive if they're paying attention, because Collins in front has dropped from the 2 guys. If he sits up at 2 watts per K for the next, well, we're actually quite close. We've got the front guys only have 4.5K. If he sits up there and stays in that blue, where if these other guys start putting through 4 watts per kilos as they come through, that 600 could come down quite quickly, and they've got 6K to do it. So 100 meters per kilometer, not out of the realms of possibility, and that should be their motivation if you're in that group, to try and be sprint for 13th instead. As we hit the front group with 4.2 to go, we're all still together, 9 of us. Who is going to take this? We've had a vote for Linden and we've had a vote for O'Malley. Who do we reckon? And who have we got there? We've got Roy has left. I'm sure he was with someone before. It was Olsen. So Olsen obviously then dropped back to. I apologise. You're going to shout at me so much. What more? What I'm just going to say is what more? It looks like he's dropped back to it, and those two have formed a group. I know your name, Phil, maybe, or Paul. Yeah, it looks like they've dropped, and they're going to form a group. They're in between each other. Roy is going to hopefully just sit at that 4 watts and above and keep those guys in. This is Paul. Thank you, Damon. You knew what I was after there. You saved me. So I'm going to Paul and Olsen. Yeah, they're just going to work together, and I'm sure just keep Collins in their rear view and see if Roy can keep that 4 watts per K until the finish. So we're 3.3 to go. This is where they start looking at each other. It's hard not to see anyone but Doug going for an attack. I think most of them are going to want to sit in, but I would like someone's got to try it, because there's a lot of good firepower in here, and you don't want to take all 9 to the line. Who's going to be that one to give that effort? I think the likes of Vesper, Lambert, Varner, Stimpson, Gakes, they're all up in the top. Obviously not said in order, but all those guys on the top of the GC, I don't think they're going to be the ones to really go for it. I think they're going to be quite happy to not lose as much time against each other, because next week is very hilly. I think that's where a lot can be lost. Time bonuses on this is first gets 10 seconds, and then you go 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0. Well, then it's 0 as it were. So top 1 to 5 getting those time bonuses. As we see Doug pushing the pace, and I say down the hill with the pack. It's going to do well to make a break, although it looks like Pedersen's putting down a bit of an effort here. 14 meters, 15 meters. It needs someone to respond, which Lambert looks like he's doing as he pushes through the front. Now, this is it. It's who's gonna burn a match to catch Pedersen. We're downhill slightly, so it does obviously play into the pack as a natural physics sort of based thing. However, Pedersen should look there. They're all sat at 3. They're all looking at each other. If you're Pedersen and you've got some gas, which he's realised, go. Because most of these guys are going to look at each other and think, well, I'm here for the sprint. Who else is going to? They're going to look at each other, whereas Greg looks like to be the one who's going to be bringing this back, as he does with Vesper and Haar all in the red there, to bring that back quickly and shut that down. But that's what you need to do. These guys, it's very close. We're 1.6k to go now. You don't want to burn any more matches than you need to. So a lot of these guys are going to look at each other, and it just needs that one person to gamble that they are just going to sit or counter-attack there. When they all came through there, maybe a someone else out of the ones I named there with Hart, O'Malley. Someone should have come over the top there if they felt really good, felt fresh in their legs. That's when you want to really attack, because some of them probably would have thought, nope, I'll let someone else chase it down, and that's what you need to do. So 1k to go. Who is going to take it? So after last week, O'Malley's looks like he's tough to beat. However, I think his cards are, well, again, I'll put my neck out this time and say I think his cards are marked, and there's someone will watch him. I think I've not seen Gakes all race, well, apart from the fact he's been sat up on that thing on that bike, so I know where he's been all race. I think obviously from a team point of view, I've got to back, and I should back Jan. I think Jan's got a very good sprint, and you know, team bias and all, could be him. But yeah, there's a lot of people who've been quiet here as we hit 500 meters to go, and they're all sat looking, and say you're just going to see those little flashes of red while people are panicking who's actually going to put the foot down. So with 400 meters to go, while Doug Hart is opening it up with Jan and Stimpson right on his wheels here. 300 meters to go as Vespa and Lambert use that draft very well. Lambert has opened up a big gap there. 10 meters he's got here where we hit under 200 meters to go. Now these guys are going to want to, if they can draft there, here we can see them catching. We've got O'Malley coming through, Jan coming through, but Lambert he's gone. They've not been able to bring him back, and it goes Lambert, O'Malley, Stimpson, Gakes, Varner, Vespa. Wow, well done, Lambert. And as you said, complete someone, and that's it. Someone whose name I didn't actually mention much. Kept the powder dry. Probably did exactly what he needed to there, and that was a fantastic sprint. Opened it up early, and especially with 200 meters to go with that, packed behind him, but it all fell to place. He kept the power down all the way, and took that with a good gap, which is very, very hard to do with the 9 riders that were there. So well done Lambert, fantastic result. And as we see here, going back to next, which is Roy Neild in 10th, managed to keep Paul and Olsen in his rear view, although they potentially could see him up the road there. I don't think with 1.7k to go, they would have to sprint they'd have to sprint the whole way, I think, to catch him. So as we can see on the right hand side, Lambert takes it. So what's that, 0.6, which in RGT and in race terms, big gap, because you can see the rest of them coming in pretty fast after that. So Lambert, O'Malley takes second today. Another good result from Stimpson, who I think was last week second. Gakes, Varner, Chaos Vesper, Pedersen, Linden and Hart from that group. All worked well, all kept attacking each other. Once they formed that 9, they kept trying to see if they could get rid of anyone else, but it had to be really 1 or 2 going off the front rather than 1 or 2 out the back with that caliber of group together on the road. As we see Roy here, 600 meters, 650 meters to go. Yeah, he is home and dry. These guys might attack each other behind, but well done, Roy. He's obviously, unfortunately, dropped from the front group, but hasn't stopped him putting the effort in all the way to keep those guys behind him as he comes to the finish. 400 meters to go, and they're 400 meters behind. So yeah, he can, I wouldn't say rest up easy, because I don't think he's like that. He's still hitting 5 watts per kilo and going to finish strong, which is great to see. And he's going to be coming over the line in 10th for us today. So well done, Roy, keeping those guys away, obviously dropping Paul and managing to take 10th for tonight. And behind, Olsen's opening up early, Paul matching, so a bit of cat and mouse before who's going to be the one who puts the big effort in here. So it looks like Paul's opening up first. If Olsen just needs to stay on his wheel now, and Can he just put an effort in and come round, or is Paul going to hold him off? He's coming, Olsen. Oh, well, looks like Paul's kept in the red long enough. Has he got him? I don't know whether Paul eased up a second too early there. He played that very fine whether he's got that, and I think, judging whether... I'm not sure whether he may have eased up and thought he'd nipped that, because it looked like Olsen may have took him on the line. That's why you never ever ease up until you are across the line. And here we go. Here's our the rest of the little pack here. 14th position onwards we're going to be going for. Or 13th though, the Lomander off the front. He's opened up early at 550 meters. He's got a long way to go here. So you've got a few that were all 7 meters or so back. They're probably going to just sit. They're still 400 meters, so you're going to sit on the wheel, and Lomander needs to keep that, but it looks like they're going to put the hammer down here. Then there goes Dunstan, 300 meters where he's going round. And people are reacting to him, people staying on his wheel. Looks like Aid's staying on his wheel, and Aid's now taking it in front of him. Aid's holding it from Dunstan. Is he going to do it all the way to the line? It looks like he is. And again, don't ease up all the way over. Yeah, Aid's got it from Dunstan. Well done. And then Teppers, Collins, and there's a blanket finish there. Good effort, Lomander, but it looks like he went from first leading out to towards the back. That's the risk you take, though. And then we've got Hackinson coming in. And before that flips off from what Damon putting all the results in, Olsen did take Paul on the line. Well done, Hans Olsen, not giving up until you passed the line. Well done, just nipped him. And we see Kent coming across there for 23rd. And in the battle here, yeah, it looks like Costain and Simonsen have made a massive gap there, because Kragland is now at 700 meters and Stenberg at 1.4 kilometers. So these guys really kept the pace on and made sure that those two were never seen again. And it looks like Kragland and Stenberg weren't really able to work together quite well, because he's gone off the back as they come in with 500 meters to go. Costain in the red. Looks like Simonson's just going to try and draft him. If he's clever, just sit in and then pop round him with 100 meters to go. Because Costain looks like Costain looked, to be fair, from when we've been looking at him, has looked like he's been the one at the front, happy to put in all the work. It's whether Simonsen says thanks very much, or he's doing exactly that and says, well, actually, thank you for the wheel, and I'm going to try and nip you on the line. Unless Costain has anything to say about it. No, it looks like Simonsen takes 24th with Costain in 25th. As all those positions come up on the right, so we can just have a look. As Kragland has 800 meters to go, 900 meters to go. So we have Lambert, well, yeah, 0.6 over O'Malley, and then a lot of races close together. Stimson, Gakes, Barner, Vesper, Pedersen, Poco, Linden, Hart, and Rocket Roy Neild for our 10th. Then Olsen, who nipped him 0.6, yeah, just got him on the line over Paul. Mike, Dunstan, Collins, Teppers, Feynman, Helveg, Herrera, and Lomander to round out our top 20. As we see Kragland coming across the line, managed to keep away from Stenberg, and will take the honours for 26. So with everyone out on the course there, it looks like we're going to have Kragland come across, Stenberg should then finish 27th, and from the gaps there we're going to see Hurst finish in 28th, and Barber will be 29th. And again, absolutely fair play for everyone carrying on. Just because you're not competing for the front doesn't mean you should automatically stop or give in. It's fantastic to see these guys jumping in, continuing to race till the finish line. So well done, guys, fantastic. Okay, so well done there, as we can see Stenberg going in. So next week, dubbed Tour of the North, 32.6k and that elevation of 598. Now don't be fooled when thinking that's only about 600. Most of that climbing is done in one spot. So first 10k is pretty pan flat as we start up near what's called a kind of Derby area up there. As we scan out here, up all the way up there, it's a lot of 10k of flat, and then we hit a horrendous hill, and you can see there up what is effectively known as Druidale, which we call it Druidale climb. And even when you get up the top of that, you descend back down into the valley on the other side and climb all the way back out again. It's used a lot in the fondos over here because it's a tough section and usually splits it. It will absolutely split the pack next week. However, once we climb out of that, we kind of still drag all the way up to the TT course, and we will kind of reverse down it rather than climb up. We go down the TT course for about the other 10k, descend down towards Ramsey before what you can see there, closest to us on the screen. We take a right-hander and just start dragging up for a nice little kind of uphill finish drag. So it's going to be interesting, your tactics. It's a lot of flat followed by a horrendous hilly section, so try and partner up with people, try and find a group, because after that it's just draggy until you start going downhill. So you've got a very big mix of terrain next week, which should make for a very interesting finale to our little series. So if you're still with us, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for watching the race. From myself and Damon behind the screen, see you next week.